What more can we do? What more can we do is a wonderful question to be asking on a regular basis. If you've been reading the bulletin articles, which many people don't, we have a saying amongst priests, if you want people to not read something, put it in the bulletin. You've probably noticed that I've been pushing people to kind of still make New Year's resolutions. Here we are getting near the end of January, and I'm still encouraging people, it's not too late to make a New Year's resolution and say, what more can I do? And it's good to have a resolution that's more like a goal. Where do I want to get to from where I'm at? And the question, what more can we do, is something I feel like we always should be asking that question. We should always be looking for, all right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? I mean, look at our parish. We have a wonderful parish. We went through a pretty substantial renovation about a year ago, and still we should be asking the question, okay, and now what? What more can we do? I find that very fitting for this particular gospel passage. Because there's many times that people stop themselves at, I can't do much. There's not much I can do. And they give up. They give up too easily. Mary in this reading is such an example for us. She's such an example. Why? Most people at the wedding, they're running out of wine. She would have said, what more can I do? Not much. And just stop there. Most people said, I can't create wine. If they've run out of wine at this wedding, basically there is no wine in the town. There is no wine in this village left. And there's not much Mary can do. She knows that. She knows herself well enough. I can't do that much. What more can I do? She knew she could do one thing. I'll go ask Jesus. I'll go ask Jesus. And so Mary goes over to Jesus and says, they have no wine. Now, the translation that we have does not paint Jesus the best. I would get slapped by my mother if I ever said to her, woman, how does your concern affect me? A better translation of this line would probably be something more to the effect of, ma'am, how does your concern affect me? That's a little bit more respectful and probably more what Jesus was saying. Ma'am, what are you asking of me? My hour has not yet come. And Mary doesn't say he's going to solve it, he's going to create wine. All Mary says is, do whatever he tells you. Do whatever he tells you. And then it's Jesus. It's over to him. Next thing you know, they've got plenty of wine. What more can we do? Sometimes it takes just one person saying, I can do something. And it makes a difference. Over the next few weeks, both in the parish at Mass and via letters, we're going to be looking at as our parish and asking our whole parish to ask that question. What more can we do? What more can we do? This is going to focus a little bit on the financial side of the parish, but it's also about being able to support ministries. Sometimes the finances become all about numbers, and it's really not. It's about doing what we are called to do as a parish. The finances just provide a means to do what God has called us to do. Our parish exists to draw every soul in the county closer to Christ and his church. And it's important that we keep asking, what more can we do to accomplish that aim, that goal, that mission? And it's important to realize it doesn't take a lot to sometimes do a lot. Every little bit makes a difference. And just one person saying, I've got an idea, or I've got something I can do, makes a huge impact. Frankly, you're going to be getting this week a flyer in your mail that has a long letter from me. I actually wrote a short form in it, if you just read the part inside the brackets. I know some people are going to look at a long letter and go, oh, sorry, too long, didn't read it. But honestly, read the whole thing. If you can't read the whole thing, read the bracketed part, but read the whole thing. It talks about how much our parish really does. And on one side of the flyer, it actually goes through a list of ministries. And I didn't even list all the ministries of our parish. I listed a good number of them, and then I realized if I start listing any more, the font's going to start shrinking and people aren't going to be able to read it. But I mean, so much has happened in our parish, and a lot of it started with just one or two people saying, I can do something about that. I can do something about that. For example, here are just half the list. RCIA, helping people come into the faith, religious education for all of our children, youth ministry, Bible studies, book studies, sharing groups, Lenten mission, our choirs, Spanish, adult, youth, child, Knights of Columbus, liturgical ministries, including our readers, our EMHCs, our servers, our ushers, First Reconciliation and First Holy Communion prep, marriage preparation, nursing home and shut-in visits, adoration, the St. Peregrine Prayer Circle, Divine Mercy devotions, baptismal garments, cleaning sacred spaces and objects, decorating the church, and that's just half the list. There's a lot that goes on here, and I think if we don't stop and reflect on it, we miss how much is going on and how much good is done by our parish. In fact, even just one of those ministries is one that I want to just point out. It's probably a ministry that many people don't think too much about. Funeral luncheons. The funeral luncheons started who knows how long ago. And it started probably because one person said, I could cook a meal. I could cook an entree. All it takes is one person saying, I can do something. And it makes an impact in people's lives. A lot of times when somebody has died, a lot of people go, I wish I could do more for that family. I wish there was something more I could do. And one person somewhere down the road said, I can cook a meal. I can do something. Just this past week, we had a family that a loved one had passed away. We're having the funeral. And I get a call from the brother of the man who passed away. And he's saying, is there just some place that we could meet and maybe have some food catered in so the family wouldn't have to worry about that for after the funeral? Could we just, is there any place at the parish that we could just gather as a family? And I said, we've got you covered. Don't worry about it. You just tell us the number of people. The meal will be cooked. The dishes will be cleaned. You guys just take that time together. And on the phone, I could hear the relief in the man's voice. That was one less thing that family was going to have to worry about. While they had so many other things that we couldn't take off their shoulders, that was one thing we could. And frankly, what many of you don't know is you were all involved in that. You were all involved in providing that, because while some people provided by being the ones who actually cooked the meal and all of that, we don't give them a bill. There is no bill that goes to a family that asks for a funeral dinner. That's provided by you. That is a ministry each one of you is involved in, even if you never knew about it. And many times, that's how a lot of our ministries are. You're all involved in all of our ministries because they would not happen without the generosity you have all provided. Now, we don't need people writing checks specifically for the funeral dinner, because then we'd have a whole stockpile of funeral dinner money and then nothing for religious ed, or vice versa. When you write your check to the parish, you're saying this goes to all of the ministries. The ministries that I'm involved in and the ministries I don't even know exist. All of the ministries are supported when we support the parish. And it's important for us every once in a while to reflect on, what more can we do? What more can we do? And it's amazing what happens when we do that, especially when we ask, what more can we do with Jesus Christ? Mary turns the situation over to Jesus, says, they have no wine. I can't do anything more, but Lord, what can you do? I could at least ask you. That's all I could do. Do whatever he tells you. And what does Jesus do? He takes 6 jars that hold 20 to 30 gallons of water and turns them into wine. This is 120 to 180 gallons of wine. A normal bottle is 1/5 of a gallon. This is a lot of wine. But in those days, the wine was stronger than we have today, so they'd actually cut it. So this is actually more about 400 gallons of wine. What more can we do? I can't do much, but I can ask Jesus. 400 gallons of wine. So much happens when we just say, I can do something. I may not be able to do a lot, but I can do something. What more can we do? I ask you as a parish, and I'm asking myself as well, over the next few weeks, let's really reflect on that question. What more can we do? What more can I do? Each one of us has a place in this parish. Some give by doing, some do by giving. Each one of us has roles to take up. And I'm not asking you for anything specific. I just ask you to take it to prayer. Take it to prayer. What more can I do, Lord? And with Mary, I say, do whatever he tells you. Do whatever he tells you. If it's little, do the little. If it's a lot, God bless you. Each one of us can be instruments of God's grace. And each one of us can be involved in drawing more souls closer to Christ and his church.